was the best. I'm blessed to know that lust is a test. I used to be the victim, now I'm just envisioning. I'm knowing this is.
I'm Suzi Landolfi, and welcome to Be Crazy Well. Here he is, the Spartan.
Oh gosh, it was fun. I am tired.
Good. It's a good tired.
It is.
Dustin, it's a great tired. You know, Dustin, I have never had a guest come back. You're my first that I've ever invited to do this podcast twice.
Well, you do part twos, but never like a year later.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I have to do part two, but that's just part of the same one. I've never asked them to come back to see where they're now. You know, it's kind of like that television show. Where are they now? It's like celebrities. Where are they now that they're not on their, sitcom? Everybody, this is Dustin Beluscak, and he is the program director. I'm going to call you director of the virtual chapter of Merging Vets and Players. It is now our largest chapter. It's our most active chapter. He has veterans and athletes from all over the country coming in every Tuesday night. Not only that, everybody, he keeps reaching out and asking us to try new healing and wellness practices. So he's always going, hey, guess what we're going to do tonight? We're going to do goat yoga. Oh, no, we don't do goat yoga. We do trauma-informed yoga, although I think we should try goat yoga. And Dustin, you're just the most unhypocritical person I've worked with in a long time.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, because you do what you offer all of us to do. That's what you do. You're the most crazy well person I know. Welcome to Be Crazy Well.
I really appreciate that because it's like when I took on the virtual program manager job, whatever you want to call me, it is what it is. When I took it on, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to make this grow. I didn't know how to keep people informed and keep people interested in something that, like, we're out of the pandemic. So virtual world, like, we're still in it, but it's not as prevalent as it once was. But we still need it for this organization because we grew and we have people in the middle of nowhere that probably will never have a chapter like what we offer here. And I want to give them the experience that MVP gave me in the beginning. And I want to give that to everybody. And I look at it like, if we do these things, if we do trauma-informed yoga, if we do monthly mindfulness, we just did the breathwork course last week. And honestly, that was probably one of my favorite classes we've done in a long time. Did I think it was going to work? I was terrified leading up to it. I was nervous. I'm like, this is not going to work. How is this going to go? Who's going to show up? But I just said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to push forward. I'm going to get on there. I'm going to send out emails. I'm going to put up videos. I'm going to talk about breath work. I'm going to talk about these things. I'm going to push it out on LinkedIn. I'm going to twist people's arms to do things that I'm like, okay, I need you to do this for me. And I'm like, I'm not sure if you want to, but I need you to do this for me so we can get this going. And I was really impressed afterwards because it's like, I look at our chapter too. We get decent numbers every week, 25 people consistently every week on a virtual platform.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. And I'm there every week, so I get to witness and be a part of it. And what I love, what you just said, is be afraid and do it anyway. Be nervous and do it anyway, but there's something else you do. You don't just remind us once that something is being offered, and you open it up to the community, not just MVP members, family members, and the community. You remind us on a daily basis, and that actually is great science. Like this idea that when you want to make a change, when you want to get involved in something and try something new, you need 3, 5, 6, 10 like reminders and encouragement. You need it. We all need it. We all deserve it. And so what you've done, and I think you just did it intuitively because of your enthusiasm. that you
A little bit
remind
of
us
both.
over and over and over again that's coming? Why didn't you write some of the funniest promotions as well? Talk to me about that.
I look at it like I start thinking about me at my low point a few years ago. What did I need? I needed somebody to constantly reminded me. I needed that twist of the arm. I needed that, quite frankly, the kick in the ass. And by doing it this way, I'm like, okay, it gets me excited for it as well. Because
Mhm.
you can hopefully you can feel my excitement coming out of like, we're doing this. This is something different. I don't know what's going to happen. Um, so by constantly pushing it forward, it allows me to grow. It allows me to be better. It allows me to get to the next level of my life and figure out what's next for in my direction. And you said opening it up to the community. I look at it like this, like MVP is amazing. And we do some great work on Tuesday nights, and Tuesday nights are about the members only. We're about the athletes and the veterans on Tuesday nights, and we're going to keep it that way. But I also look at like, we have this amazing platform virtually. Like, what else can we do? We can reach out to so many other lives. We can showcase what we do here at MVP by opening all this stuff up to the community, by just giving it away, because why not? Like, we're still about Tuesday. If we have somebody that's like, I like what you're doing in MVP. I'm not sure why would I want to donate to them? Well, come to everything else we're doing. You're going to get something out
Right.
of what else we're doing. Like what we're doing Monday is the trauma informed yoga, and it's different type of yoga. It's very slow paced. It's breath work. It's different, but it's going to be, if you want to try something different, it's there. If you want to try mindfulness, it's there. And then, talking with Joe today, I told him I want to do the breath work bi-monthly, and he's like, in.
Right.
So we're going to bring that up and keep it, and talking with you, keeping it open to the community to allow everybody to experience this. And it also gives Joe a chance to showcase, like, oh, I don't know about breathwork. That's not for me. Come to this free breathwork course that we're offering. It's free. One, you get to learn about MVP.
Right.
Two, you get to learn about breathwork. Three, you get to see Joe in action. And if
Tell
you
us
see
who
in
Joe
action,
is. Tell everybody who Joe is, because it's
so
really interesting.
Joe he is an amazing human being. He's about 7 foot tall. Like, he's like 7'4". He's gigantic. I'm like, oh my God, you're a giant. I'm scared of you. But he played for UCLA. He graduated from UCLA. He
Played
went
what?
on
What did he play?
played football in UCLA. You would think he's a basketball player because of how tall he is, but he was a football player. From there, he went on to play in the NFL. He played for the Detroit Lions in the 2013 and 14 season. He actually started practicing yoga while he was at UCLA. And then for the past 5-6 years, he's been practicing breath work. He's been getting his certifications. He's going to schools. He's traveling around the world teaching breath work classes now. He's got a retreat coming up in a few months in Costa Rica. And I'm like, that's amazing. It's a 5-day retreat where all they're doing is breathing. I'm like, that is crazy amazing. It's crazy well. It's so out of the norm, but the energy he brings to it, and you see him virtually, you're going to be like, I want to bring this to my company. I want to bring this to my sports organization. I want to bring, how can I get him involved to bring him forward further? And I look at it like this, like, we're giving him a chance because he's a member too.
Right.
We're giving him a chance to use our platform to grow his own business as well.
It's interesting too, when you think about it. So we have Joe, who is NFL, and he's doing breath work. We have Bruce Kittle, whose son is obviously George Kittle, and his daughter Emma do this whole mindfulness meditation, and that. And I was just sort of thinking, we have members coming up with ideas. So the trauma informed yoga with Dave Truesdale and his wife. He's a member down in Texas. They're a little too far away to go to our Dallas. So he's in our chapter. But think about that. We have 3 members providing monthly wellness practices. And then I do the psychoeducation once a month. And you've been absolutely such a blessing to help promote that as well. And we've gotten so much great traction with that. So MVP, because of you, MVP is not just once a week. It's
Yeah,
not just once a week huddle, workout and huddle, which is how we started. And that's what it was. You've now made it a weekly, like, wellness practice program so that you get more. You can, come into the huddle and share what's going on in your life, both the wins and the struggles. And then you have all of these practices that you can do on a weekly, like daily basis. And I think the way that you present it too, because you do it, I have to say this, there are some people that work in organizations that do their job and they don't do the work. They do their job, but they don't actually put the time and energy into their own personal change and healing. They don't. And one of the things I'm so grateful for you is that you do that. So asking you back was because I've seen, and you're so great about contacting me weekly too. You're like, oh, and you text me and we have conversations and we struggle with some stuff and then we, celebrate some things. Tell everybody how over the past year, some of the things you've tried for your wellness and how you've actually done it and then grown out of it. Can you do that?
Are we talking about the retreat I went on, or
Well, the retreats, cannabis, whatever you want to talk about.
so cannabis was always something that I used for, like, it got me out, relaxed, it brought out, like, calm me down.
Mhm.
And last September, I have a friend who runs an organization called Soul Miners out in the Las Vegas area. And through his organization, he takes people out to do a plant medicine retreat at the Grand Canyon. And I'm like, you know what? I there's some demons inside of me. There's some walls that I need to break down. And we talked last time about microdosing. We talked about these different things that I was doing, and it's still great medicine. And I still microdose occasionally, but I needed to do something to push myself out of my comfort zone. And I reached out to him. I said, I'm interested. I want to do it. So I went and did his retreat. And when I was at the retreat, it was really neat because when we got there, we arrive on a Saturday, we all meet up, we drive out to the desert. 3 days prior, you're eating vegan, you're eating clean, you're fasting the day of. So you're really just pushing your body to have to basically stepping back and cleaning it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the desert, and the first thing we have to do is we have to set everything up. So we have to set up the canopy. We have to bring out all the food. We have to bring out all the tables. We have to basically get everything ready for afterwards and get everything set up. We had to go gather firewood. We had to get everything just ready for that night. And then we did we did an exercise. I almost feel like it's a bully exercise, something similar to what I did at Anthony Girardi's acting studio. And I love that man to death. Like, that man changed my life. That's a story for another day. So we did this bully exercise where it was like a role play, and you're talking to the person who's bothering you in your head. It doesn't matter whether it's a family member, something that happened to you at war, something that happened as long as it's something that's living rent free in your head.
Yeah.
We acted it out. We got to get our pieces out. We got to say sorry to that person. We got to cry. Like, I remember I broke down and cried. And then after we did this, we did about 30 minutes worth of Wuhan, like deep breathing exercise, deep breathing. I believe it's like Wuhan breathing, or probably saying it wrong right now. But that's okay. Did this 30-minute breathing exercise. So that brings us back. Okay, cool. You guys are calmed down. Okay. It's now coming to sunset. Dusk is happening. Here's a pen and paper. Go write a letter to your past self. I actually have my letter right here. I have it framed. I wrote it up.
That's amazing.
And it basically just says, like, believe in yourself. Don't worry about the other things that happen. Like, you're going to believe in yourself and you're going to get kicked down, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to stand up for yourself, and people are going to beat you up for it. And that's okay. But continue loving and continue caring, because none of that other stuff matters. And I wrote that letter. Then we did the meditation. And hold on a second. I got one more thing.
Yeah.
So he gives us the medicine. I drink the medicine, and I have my mat laid on the ground, and I'm taking it internally. They had 4 facilitators at this one. One was a massage therapist, like, and one was like the most primal person you could ever imagine, but he's also a musician, very caring man. But he just looks like you'd probably be scared of him if you saw him on the street, but I love him to death now. He was keeping the fire going. He was keeping the beats on the drums. We're listening to music, and they're just going around checking up on us, making sure we're okay. During it, I took it, like I grabbed my Apple Watch, I threw it off, and I'm like, I just want to be grounded. Like, I don't feel grounded in my life. Like, this is what is missing. And that's what I was going through in my brain during this experience. So I started rolling around in the dirt, face buried in the dirt. I'm just rubbing my face in the ground. And like, just, he's like, they grab me, pull me back to my mat and say, go to your mat. And I grab a rock. And I grab this rock right here. And instead of rolling on the ground, I'm holding it to my face, holding it to my heart, just putting love into this. And it made me feel grounded. I went to the bathroom and I handed my rock. I'm like, hold my rock. I love this rock. And since that experience, I've used this rock. Whenever I meditate, I just hold on to it. It's just a generic, nothing special about it, but it's special to me.
Well, I got to tell you one thing that you may not know. Indigenous people see rocks as ancestors. They're the oldest beings. And so they do hold all kinds of spiritual energy and wisdom. So the fact that you did that you picked rock, like, that's incredible to me.
It just fit in my hand perfectly. And I can see that too, because it's one of the things I was saying is eventually I'm going to be here. Eventually I'm going to be in the ground. I'm going to be part of this earth at this level.
That's right.
And so now I meditate with this rock. When I came out and I came home, wasn't allowed to make any decisions for a few days, didn't do anything, but I came home and I didn't go in with with the idea of like, oh, I'm going to quit cannabis, but I didn't have the urge for it. And the urge, and like, it's come and gone, but when the urge comes, I'm like, you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need that medicine anymore. Just like I didn't need the Adderall. I didn't need the other medications that they were giving me in the past. I didn't need the stuff that was clogging my brain up. I needed to just focus on these wellness practices. And these wellness practices, as we talked about before, given a lot of them I knew from when I was younger, but I lost practice.
Right.
MVP in the beginning gave it back to me, and now I'm just continuing to give it forward. And by doing this and keeping my head clear, I feel like I'm moving step up, step up, step up, step up. And I don't know what's next, but I know something is next.
Yeah. Well, that's what you've done so well is that, much like, an old tree, that you'll keep growing. Trees don't just grow and stop. Their roots keep going further and further out. And not only that, underground, the roots communicate with other trees. I mean, that's how important it is. So
the ecology system.
Yeah, exactly. And when we realize that we're going to keep growing and that's our right, that's what we deserve, you just trust in that. So when you get into a sticky moment or a moment that's difficult, doesn't matter, because you're going to grow. Whereas before we get panicked, we're like, hell, oh my God, I'm never going to grow. I'm not going to get out of this. That. And we start to hear those voices in our head that are not even ours. So what's so wonderful and why I'm so grateful for you is I oftentimes tell people, look, if you're going to pick one quality in a person that you want to hang out with or have a relationship with or partnership or marry or whatever, have kids with, have it be that they are committed to growing. Just that. Because even though when that they're struggling, they're going to get out of it because they're committed to growing. And that's what you've done.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really true. And, and it hasn't always been easy. You've had struggles with your family because they aren't necessarily committed or feel safe, comfortable, or courageous enough to keep trying and keep growing, right? To keep searching and looking for wellness and believing it's their right. So talk to me about how even when people can't do this, can't do that. How do you handle when somebody, you have to work with, be with, hang on to in life? How do you manage that now?
I kind of bring it to people's attention, like with some of my family members. So in the last year, they sent me a message. Like I reached out to them. I'm like, can you let me know how mom's doing? I'm helping her with these things, and I'm not there, but I would love for you to tell me of these things. Well, he ignored me, and I just let it go. Then out of the blue, one day I got a message with an unsolicited message with just a job posting months later. I'm like, what is this? This isn't healthy. This isn't beneficial for anybody's mental health. And I sat back, I woke up and I saw the message. I'm like, what do I want to say?
So you didn't react. You sat and reflected for a while.
I wanted to blow up on him.
Sure.
And I didn't. And so what I did is I wrote it out. I wrote out, okay, blow up, boom, 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 boom. Okay, read it. Okay, don't send it. I wrote it in like my notes. Don't send it. Read it again. How does this feel? How do you want it to feel to the person that you're sending it to? I wanted it to feel positive. I wanted them to understand what growth is and what help actually is. So I wrote it to say, this is what help is, and explaining it to him. But unsolicited job posting, when I haven't talked to him much in months, is not help. So please don't do this and follow these steps. They were like, fine, I won't help you. I'm like, okay, fine. That's your choice. I'm okay with that.
That's amazing, because
it lived in my mind that day, though. Like, it bothered me. I was running through events. I'm angry. I'm yelling screaming in my head. My roommates are all angry inside, but I didn't let it come out.
Right. So it's kind of like that storm inside of us. I always tell people that you can either be a cattle or you can be a buffalo. Cattle run away from the storm, right? And then they keep running and running, get really tired, and the storm's chasing them and chasing them. They're getting exhausted, and finally the storm overtakes them and freezes them right in mid-flight. Buffalo, look, oh, here comes the storm, turns around and faces the storm and runs straight for it. The entire herd just runs smack. It smacks them right in that big head of theirs, in that big chest of theirs, and they run right through it, and it's really hitting them, and it's really tough, and they run right out the other side.
Because when you face something head on,
you're
going to come out stronger. It's not going to last as long, and you're going to come out stronger.
Yeah. Is there anything you think about now, about any ideas of some goals, missions, experiences that you want to try? Is there anything you've been thinking about?
I love what you do. I love like what you've brought to the table here, and the way talking to people, and what I've been doing at MVP for the past, God, I was hired on in 2020, and I'm 2024 now, and been a part of the organization since like 2016. But what I've learned here is just to be patient with people, and it's okay to blow up. It's okay to have those feelings, and it's okay to express like, oh yeah, I would do the same thing, but it's not beneficial. Yeah. And that's something I've learned from you, is like, you'll admit, oh yeah, I would do that too. I want to swear, I want to cuss, I want to jab somebody in the face at times. And it's okay to admit that.
Right.
But let's talk about that. Let's talk through it. But eventually I would love to be able to follow in those type of footsteps to help other people along the way.
Wow. You could be a mental health coach.
Yes.
That would be awesome. Yeah, it's amazing when you say something out loud and you admit, like, here I am a therapist, and when I can say to people, yeah, I would have wanted to punch him. I felt like punching in the face. And now that I'm a boxer, I really want to punch him. And to be able to laugh at myself and say, yeah, I still get some of those thoughts and feelings. I just don't act on them. I don't act on them.
And it's okay to have feelings. We're allowed to have feelings.
Yeah. And I don't beat myself up for, or shame myself for feeling or thinking those. Most of our thoughts that we have are not true. Most of our feelings are not facts. They come up like a big swell in the ocean, and then they calm down like that too. So, it hits the shore and it just dissipates, that big wave. It's gone. So yeah, that's exactly what we can do. And then it's safe. We're safe. I loved the other word that you used was grounded. that this idea that we need to ground ourselves. And even scientifically, the idea that if you could walk outside and stand on dirt, just like you were doing at that retreat, and you were literally intuitively putting the dirt on you, it's because the earth has an electromagnetic field. It has a pull, and that literally grounds you, can literally hold you steady, speak, and it comes right up through the earth into your bare feet and into your body. Like, we are electrical energy and we can utilize that. So that idea of ground myself is really important, because when I'm not grounded, I could fall over, I could trip, I could like not stand still and be calm at a time that's really important to me. Well, it's like horses, they never want to fall down, ever. That's the worst thing that can happen to horses, to fall down. They don't want to fall down. And they got 4 legs to keep them steady, right? So they're very clear about how to stay grounded and how to do that. What is some of the most interesting, fun, joyous things that you do on a weekly, daily, whatever basis that you can now do for you? I don't think we always talk a lot about struggles and stuff like that. We don't talk enough about joy, joyous, fun. What are some of those things you like to do for you?
So I know this is going to sound silly, but one of the
Good.
things I love doing for myself is, because MVP's out of Unbreakable Performance in West Hollywood,
Right.
they have a machine in the background, in the back room, that they use for recovery called the Normatec. And I bought it. I ended up using it and seeing a benefit from it. And in the gym, and I stopped using it for 3 months, and my pain started coming back, and all this other stuff, like these physical elements that I would have, started happening again, like getting a limp again. I'm like, where's this coming from? I realized I stopped using this machine. And then I ended up buying the complete package for myself, because I'm like, okay, you know what? This helps my legs when I'm at the gym. If I can't be at the gym, I want to be able to do this for myself.
Yeah.
So and then I'm like, I wonder what would happen if my hips, because my hips are always tight. Bought the hip one. And then I bought the arm ones, because it's like I get shoulder pains. And then I noticed, if I consistently use this, those pains go away. I don't get them because it's compressing my body. It's getting the blood flowing. It's allowing me then to stretch more. It's allowing me to get into a deeper stretch. It's allowing me to sleep a little bit better at night, because my blood is flowing cleaner through the day. And it wasn't cheap, and I'm paying monthly on the machine, but I looked at it like it was worth my health, because then I'll be sitting on my computer talking. I'll be doing my work, and it's just doing this to my body. Then I
Yeah.
get up and I feel great. I decided for myself, I'll go back to school for 1 class a semester, and eventually something will happen. Don't know what I'm doing. Don't know why I'm doing it. I'm just like, you know what? I need to do this for myself, and I'll just take 1 class and I'll
Sure.
learn. And I'll continue pushing forward, and I'll continue growing, and I'll continue talking about what's next for my life.
Yeah.
Figure that out. I love going into the gym, working out. I had a great time when I went over to craft boxing. That workout there, I couldn't move the next day, even with my machine, like getting me compressed, couldn't move.
Yeah.
Loved it. Couldn't move. Like, they smoked me, and I thank George for putting on such a great program over there.
Yeah.
I thank Jay for putting on a great program in LA too, with the Unbreakable Performance. Like, the way that they get the body moving, and they go in, body movement, and they go into boxing, they give you a little bit of both. I love doing that, because it allows my mind to step back.
Ooh, that's a really important thing you just said. You talked about how your mind is helped through movement, through your body. And so many people don't make that connection. They think their mind is separate. I'm working out my body, and then I'll go do something with my mind, like work or school or talk to a therapist. No, they're all connected, and they all help one another. And to understand that, the body will, in fact, help your mind better than if you just try to help your mind. I mean, absolutely. You do something else, Dustin, that you and I both do this really well. We know how to take ourselves out on dates. Now, some people would find that kind of silly, and you and I have understood how important it is. Now we got some of the members doing it. Tell us about that.
So one of the things that I've learned, and it took me years to understand this, is I don't need to go out with somebody to go out. And sometimes people need to go out and talk to people. Like when you go out, you make friends at the people at the bar or whoever you're sitting with. I don't need to do that. I go to a ramen restaurant. I went and got pho down the street, and I'll just sit there and get a bowl of soup at the ramen restaurant. I sit in the corner, in the back corner, and I'll play the news on my phone, on the AirPods in my head, just listen to the news, eating ramen, and just enjoying just being outside. Being like, this is my time. It's like, I can be at peace. I don't have to think. I can just look around and be like, yeah, life is good. Life is good. I'm out. I'm able to live. I'm able to enjoy this great bowl of soup, whatever, whether it's pho, ramen, doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
And that's been my thing for myself, is to go out and do that.
That's so
And
nice to hear.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It's really, really, really important. And the thing is that when we can't be alone, we're apt to make desperate decisions and be around people that are not safe for us.
One
Because
of the things that I've done,
yeah. Say that again.
one of the things that I've done is, when I realized that I needed help years ago, I'm like, I'm not going to get involved in a relationship. I'm going to pull away from potential relationships because I am not healthy. Why am I going to be, people wanted to be like, I had people interested in me, and I'm just like, no, I don't want this because I'm not good. I need to focus on me. Because at this time, the only thing I have is me, myself, and I. And if I'm not healthy, I can't do anything for you. Because then I'm just codependent on you. And I don't want
say that again. That's so important.
I don't want to be codependent on somebody else.
Yeah.
I want to be able to get up, love my life, be good with myself, have my dog with me, because he's almost 15 years old, and he's still surprisingly in great health.
Yeah.
And be able to enjoy this. And it's now that I've learned this, now it's almost time to, like, how do I bring somebody in to share the wealth with them, the wealth of the love I've learned for myself with them? How do I share these outside the huddle activities that we do with them? Because, these are open for everybody.
Yeah. It's interesting too, when you really do the personal work, when you do finally meet someone, you're not so apt to drown in that codependence and give up who you are. In other words, you're apt to actually hold your own. And so you don't have to do everything together. You don't take everything personally. You don't, struggle with all of that fear and sadness that comes out so often for all of us because of our childhoods. So this idea, when you are strong within yourself and your core is strong, physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, and financially, when you do meet up with someone, you can walk a parallel path with them and not get lost in their issues and their fear and sadness and yours. You can literally just kind of hold your own. And if it works out and it keeps going for days or weeks or months or years, that's great. And if it doesn't, you don't fall down, you don't miss a beat. Like, oh, okay, that wasn't the right person to make a long-term relationship with. And I learned something, I had some good times, and then I saw, okay, that's probably not where we need to go. People can't do that if they're not doing their own personal work.
Yeah. And it's hard to realize that you need to do your personal work.
Yeah.
It took me years to do it. It took me forever. And it also, I don't think I told you this goes along personal work. I did a Spartan race back in January that was down in Riverside County. I came to California to be a caregiver for my great uncle and aunt. And my uncle I loved, he was like the greatest man in my life. My aunt, at my uncle's funeral, let me turn this light back on.
Yeah.
At my uncle's funeral, the bishop of the church that did his ceremony told me I need to move out today. She's not a good person. I didn't listen to him. And it brought me down. Things turned bad. I moved out and life got rough after that. When I went down to do the Spartan race, I went to his grave at Riverside National Cemetery. I talked to him. I talked to her. I forgave her.
Yeah.
I forgave him. And it was tough work to do. Like for years after things happened, after like there's traumatic stress from the military, there's traumatic stress from childhood, there's traumatic stress from this situation. But the fact that I was able to go to her and go to them, and I bought little bottle of Jameson. I just a shot bottle of Jameson, because one of the things she said to me is like, he never drank Jameson. He never liked it. I'm like, the guy went through a bottle of Jameson once a month. So I took a shot and I dumped the rest of the shot on the grave and left the bottle there for him.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
and
a great
allowed me to do that personal growth.
Yeah. So one of the things you've also learned, and most of us don't know this, is because you did the plant medicine, because you've done retreats, because you've done breath work and all these other things that we don't normally think of. You know, the medical model here in the United States, for the most part, is take a pill. You know, get an operation, take a pill. You've learned a lot about ceremony. That this idea that you do things, that's a ceremony you just did at that gravesite. And we have got to understand that that's the most important thing we can do for veterans. We don't have a ceremony when you come back. We have a ceremony when you graduate from basic training, right? So there's a ceremony. And then you go off, and then when you're done, and there's no ceremony. There's no big thank you ceremony. There's none of that. Now, some people I know go through some kind of training, but most people don't, or some kind of a exit plan. And what you've actually done and what you've brought to a lot of us, Dustin, is the idea of ceremony. Like have a routine, do something to say goodbye, write that letter. Like you now understand that idea that, oh, there's ceremony I can do to forgive and say goodbye and all of that. That's so important.
And ceremony is a growing process. It doesn't happen overnight. Healing doesn't always happen overnight.
Right.
But it is important. And another ceremony I like to do every morning is I take a shiitake mushroom, I chop it up in the morning, and I put it in the sun for 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Because a mushroom can soak up more vitamin D than taking a pill.
I didn't know that.
So I do this ceremony where I chop it up, I put it in the sun, I let the mushroom soak up the sun, then I go cook it. And I put my 3 egg whites with 1 egg yolk in there. Yeah. And I have that for breakfast.
I've been looking into mushroom coffee. You know, with the reishi mushrooms and chaga and all of that. So thank you for that, because I did not know that. What a great ceremony, great way. And these are all ancient things that, you know, again, ancestors and knew this. They knew this, and indigenous people. They knew how to take, again, that's plant medicine again. That, shiitake mushroom soaking up the D, that is plant medicine once again. So, this is great. Dustin, I can't thank you enough for doing this. Is there anything else you want to share that I didn't ask about, that you were thinking about, or like this? Go ahead.
If people, even if you don't qualify for MVP, sign up on our website and be like, I want to be a part of the virtual community. Sign up for our newsletter.
Yeah.
Because when I do these outside the huddle events that are open to the public, people who don't qualify, I send them a letter. Hey, we're doing this today. You can join us. Hey, we're doing this. Join us. Just so they know about who we are. And then they can go tell other people about us. And this is how we can grow to the next level through word of mouth.
It's a great idea.
Giving to the public and having them involved in our community, even though you don't qualify.
Yeah.
Put you in the community so you know about these other wellness practices.
Right. And we also do have some volunteers. So we've got that now. So there are some times, and you're right, we are smart enough and generous of heart enough to know that we should open many of our things to the community. The huddles, that's for members. We get that. And this idea of opening up other things to the public is really important into the community because we can't do this by ourselves. So, like none of us can. So, well, I'll probably, if I'm God willing, the creek don't rise, and God willing, I'll be here next year and we'll be doing this again with you because I can't imagine how many other things you're going to do. So I appreciate you so much, Dustin. Bless you. Everybody, go on to the vetsandplayers.org website and see the virtual, it's called the virtual chapter. That's Dustin's chapter, and sign up, not to be a member, just to get the newsletter and to be able so that you can find out more about what this amazing young man is doing and how he's doing. And by the way, this 15-year-old dog that he puts in a rucksack on his back and bicycles around Hollywood and West Hollywood and all the other places around his neighborhood. So yeah, you may just see him sometimes, and we need some video of that because that is the cutest thing I've ever seen when you do that. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you so much. Obviously, I'll see you in the room. Now, I will be in Puerto Rico on Tuesday. So I will be jumping on the Merging Vets and Players virtual chapter huddle from Puerto Rico this Tuesday.
My other favorite Cleveland person.
Yes, with your other favorite Cleveland person who's already outed me. So everybody already knows that I'm the mental health coach for Jake Paul, and talk about another young man who's done so much like you. I mean, the healing is unbelievable, and you guys are the inspirators. You're inspiring people to keep growing, keep learning, keep healing, because you deserve it.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because he grew up in Westlake in Ohio. I grew up in Olmsted Falls, which is like 2 cities apart from each other. It's like the west side of Cleveland.
And maybe there's something in the water that you guys are like these.
There has to be.
There has to be, that you're so committed to growing and learning and changing. And you both went through some pretty intense trauma as kids, so makes it even more courageous. Be your best self. That's our theme song, and I couldn't think of anybody else that just embodies that of be your best self. And that's from Kalvin Love. And so everybody, be crazy well. Be as crazy well as Dustin. That's what you need to be able to do.
I think as me, be as crazy as well as you're allowed to be for yourself.
That you will give yourself. Absolutely.
Yourself.
All right. Peace out. Peace out, Dustin. I'll see you in the room, in the virtual.
Bye, Suzi.
Yep. Bye-bye.